Hey there, Stephen Glicker here from World from Combat. Happy New Year, everyone. And it looks like that Hasbro is going to start off the new year pretty much the same way they started off last year, with a whimper. I'm going to get right into it. You could just read the headline is that Hasbro stock is downgraded. And this is on January 2nd, okay? The first day the markets are open for the new year is that Hasbro stock is downgraded. And I'll get into this, but basically, for those who aren't as familiar with the stock market, stocks are rated as like buy, neutral, sell, sometimes strong buy, sometimes strong sell. Everything is usually a buy, okay? It really takes a lot for something to go down to neutral. There's not a lot. If you're in neutral, that's the death kiss, okay? That's something you don't want to be. And well, they went from buy to neutral, and the price target was lowered from $60 to 53. What that means is they think that the stock is worth 53 bucks at most. Now, this is a stock that was $120 not too long ago. And right now, the stock, well, it actually took a little bit of a rebound after those cuts, but now it's down to 48. And, the thing is the stock really has nowhere left to go, okay? It's probably going to stick in this range for quite some time. And they go through kind of what we have been saying, but they do it using their technospeak and using actual analysis and looking at actual money coming in, debt to ratio, things like that. But the biggest thing they're saying here is that they don't think that they will have enough money to actually cover the dividend they pay out. If you read here, is that said, we estimate 2023 could be the second year, 2023 could be the second year that free cash flow does not cover dividends of 400 million and the debt to EBITDA target of 2.5 unlikely, blah blah blah, unless after 2000. Long story short, without getting into all that, they don't have enough money. Okay, they pay out actually a pretty nice dividend, and they don't have enough money to actually pay the dividend out, according to this. So they'll either have to cut the dividend, which is going to just make the stock go down further, because one of the reasons people buy these stocks is because they get a dividend, or they're going to have to take out a loan to pay the dividend, which is going to only add more debt, which is going to make the stock worth less. But you see what this is? This is what we call a death spiral. And the only way they can get out of this is to keep cutting costs or to make more money. That's pretty much it. There's no way out of this. And I hate to say it, but they're really in trouble. And that's the first part of the story. The second part of the story is, remember Ollie's? Remember how Ollie's was, selling all this Hasbro stuff? Well, I don't have an Ollie's near me. I wish there was. The nearest one is really far away. One day I got to go over there. Well, there's another another YouTuber, and his name is World Class. I can't say it, but world class BSers, okay? You can look them up, okay? I don't want to get demonetized. And I hate to do this. I hate to play someone else's video, but he went to 4 Ollies. 4. I don't even have one near me. He went to 4 Ollies, and he showed what's on the shelf. And I'm going to play this at 1.5 times speed, but wait until you see this, because I was even stunned.
So we start today at Ollie's, where the shelves are empty. But you'll see why we're making this video in just a moment. Also, too, all toys were 25% off. Now they're 33% off, and you'll start to see what can't sell no matter how much they discount it at discount. So as you can see, we have some Hasbro merchandise featuring the Fantastic Four and Beast Wars, and they're still here after Christmas, but those 5 or 6 items are nothing. So let's roll over here to this store where it starts to build up and look familiar. So first off, we have tons of G.I. Joe, Star Wars, Beast Wars, D&D, and our first of maybe 1,000 Marvel Legends Black Panther figures. So as you can see, they're 33% off, and the Shurikopters aren't really moving. There's about, a dozen up here so far? Maybe a little less, but still a lot of Shurikopters. You haven't seen anything yet. So here's the Marvel Legends end cap, and it looks pretty much the same as it's looked over the last few months. Now, up here on the top, a couple of those Black Panther figures in the weird scale have moved. Can't deny that. But if we look further down here, we'll see that the Eternals, eternally on store shelves. We got tons of Icarus. We got tons of Icarus. The woman, the deaf one, like, they're all over here, okay?
Okay, so here we go. I mean, look at all these discounts. Okay, it's Ollie's, so it's already cheap. It's 20% off, and then it's another 33% off. And no one is buying this stuff. They literally can't give away Hasbro toys. And yes, a lot of this is from movies that didn't do well, and that's really turning out to be the big issue with Hasbro. I was about to say Marvel. With Hasbro is that they decided to make toys based on Disney properties, which a couple of years ago was probably doing extremely well, or I don't know if it's printing money, but it was at least doing well. Well, I don't need to tell you, Disney had one of the worst years ever. Okay, their movies. Okay, if you thought the D&D movie didn't do well, which it actually did, it did okay. It made about $250 million. Well, the Marvel movies, some of them were under the D&D movie, and that I would have never expected, well, ever. And I mean worldwide. I don't just mean the United States. Like, there were some Marvel movies that didn't make as much money as the D&D movie. Think about that for a second. And they cannot sell this because if you decide, okay, I'm going to make toys for movies that are flopping, well, then no one's going to buy the toys. And now, look, I get it. This is extremely hard, okay? I don't envy these guys. They have to bet on whether or not these properties are going to do well. And they might do well, they might do terrible. The most famous story is way back when, in 1977, when they decided to make Star Wars action figures, and there weren't any on the shelves. They just didn't have any Star Wars action figures because no one expected it to do so well. And that's the infamous where, oh, you can send in a coupon and Kenner would send you back a piece of cardboard that you can give your kids as a holiday present because we're going to send you the action figures later. Okay, and that, even when I was a kid, that was famous because kids were getting the cardboard and they were like, "I like cardboard for Christmas." But the point is that who knows? Okay, there's a lot of stories of not having toys on the shelf. Perfect one is like Groot. They didn't have any types of Groots on the shelf when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, and it seemed like a no-brainer. And eventually they fixed it, but it takes a while, you know. So the point is, what is going on with Hasbro? And I don't need to play the rest of this. The link is going to be down there. You get the idea. Is that, and he does this for four. I'll play a little bit more. What the hell?
Between the Eternals and Black Panther and Doctor Strange, Marvel toys they live at Ollie's from now on. So I hope they made themselves comfortable. They have a bedding section. Maybe that's what they do at night. They all sleep.
You hear that? It's like Hasbro toys live at Ollie's now. I hope they make themselves comfortable. And he does this. So the video is long. I mean, it's 30 minutes long. And he just goes from Ollie's to Ollie's to Ollie's. And they're all the same. Now, granted, a lot of these are older toys, but there was a lot of D&D toys up there. And those were recent toys. And some of these, they're trying to sell these for $4 to $5. Okay? Some of these are as little as $3, and no one is buying them. No one is buying them. So if you're curious and interested, and there's Ollie's near you, I would strongly recommend you go there. So what does this all mean? This means that 2024, it might be brutal. Okay, I have a feeling they're going to be pushing D&D so hard. Which I like. I'm very excited. I can't wait to see the new D&D, the books, everything they're coming out with. But they're really going to hope and pray that not only D&D, but the digital incentive, the digital properties and D&D Beyond and the virtual tabletop and their online storefront, which I know the people working on, and I know for a fact that's coming very soon, is that they're going to hope that that saves them. And I'm telling you right now that this is it. This is the make or break year for Hasbro, 2024. And they say right here, I like how they say this in their outlook, it's that they don't believe that they're going to be saved in 2024 because there's no Baldur's Gate 3 coming out this year. Like, that I can't believe I'm actually reading this in financial reports that they're actually saying that Baldur's Gate 3 saved them last year. And I would also say Lord of the Rings saved them too. Um, Magic and Baldur's Gate 3 saved their company last year. And this year, there is no more Baldur's Gate 3. It's not going to save them. Even if they're coming out with a download DLC, an expansion pack, which they're not. Okay. And if Larian rarely does that, what they do is they will come out, if tradition holds. Larian always waits about a year, and then they come out with a massive update, which is like the Game of the Year edition, which they add a lot of content, they beef it up. But here's the thing, it's free. Okay, you don't need to buy that again. And yes, there'll be a big bump in sales for the people who maybe missed out on Baldur's Gate 3 the first time. They get the Game of the Year edition at the end of the year, and they're going to add all this new content, maybe new areas, but they usually do that for free. They don't make anyone pay for that. And if they are going to have DLC, and they already said they're not going to have an expansion to it, I don't expect that to come out this year. I don't think that will come out until at soon as 2025. So this is it. This is the make or break year. And they let go, about 98% of the people they let go were not from WotC. They were not from Magic or from D&D. So they were from mostly the manufacturing, the toy side. And obviously they're going to still have toys coming out. They're still going to have, their properties, their action figures and so forth. But I almost am curious if it's going to be desperation we smell this year, is that they actually don't have, according to these analysts, enough money to pay out their own dividends. And they're going to get so desperate that they're just going to basically hope and pray and go all out that everyone buys the new books. And I am pretty much betting that those dates are accurate, because people are like, okay, May, what was it, like May, it's pretty soon, like May 19th. I'm just going by memory here. May 19th seems pretty soon. I think it's coming out because they need money, okay? They're not going to wait till August. They're not going to wait till Gen Con. They're going to put those books out as fast as humanly possible because, damn, they need money. And they want to make sure they sell those things as long as possible. And I am a little worried about the quality of the books, and because they're only going to have one shot at this. I mean, the people they hired are really good people. They hired a huge number of Paizo people. They hired the best of the best. I mean, half the people they hired worked for me, should I say, and they wrote my Jewel the Indigo Isle book. So I know them. I know how good their work is because I had them work for me. That's how much I enjoyed their work. So I imagine that this stuff can be very, very good. And I'm really much looking forward to it. But if it's not, well, then we're going to have a new discussion, which is how to break up Hasbro and sell off their discrete pieces, because that might be the next time I report this 1 year from now. Anyhow, thanks for joining me. If you're watching this and it is January 4th, well, guess what? This is the 1 year anniversary of the OGL debacle. That's right. 1 year ago today, I and Mark Seifter broke the story. That's right. One day before Linda Codega, live on the air. And today at 8 p.m. right here at Roll for Combat, we're going to be doing a live retrospective. I'm going to go through the entire history of the OGL, where we were pretty much the tip of the spear. I'm going to go through everything that happened. I'm going to give you tons of behind-the-scenes information that I couldn't really report on back then, but I'm going to report on now. I'm going to tell you what was going on behind the scenes, who I was talking to, what we were coordinating. I'm just going to answer all your questions that I'm allowed to answer. And I don't want this important part of history to get lost. So I'm doing this both because it's the 1 year anniversary, and also I wanted to preserve this information forever so that we can remember what Hasbro tried to do and relive it, go through it in detail, and it'll be recorded forever in YouTube. So once again, check that out. Anyhow, thanks a lot, and I'll see you all later.